The beginner rule sounds simple. If the risk-adjusted PPP cost beats the public sector comparator, proceed. But that number is really the output of a chain of contested choices: a discount rate, a risk price, a national methodology. This episode goes inside that machinery. The discount rate fight that can flip a result on its own, how countries differ in building the comparator, a real published assessment with real numbers, and why some of those numbers deserve real skepticism. Start with the discount rate, the number that converts future cash flows into one comparable present value. The UK's standard approach discounted everything at the social time preference rate, 3.5% real, 6.09% with inflation, well above the government's actual cost of borrowing, which sat closer to 2%. In 2014, the National Audit Office reworked 6 real PFI financial models using 4.5% instead, close to the market gilt rate at the time. 5 of the 6 flipped from showing the PFI option as better value to showing it as worse. The verdict, on real projects, rested on which rate got used. That's not a UK quirk. Countries build the comparator differently. The UK's approach, before PFI ended in 2018, ran everything through that single social discount rate. Australia's national PPP guidelines take a more granular route. A risk-adjusted discount rate built on the capital asset pricing model, varying by each project's own systematic risk, paired with a mandatory qualitative assessment. Canada's Infrastructure Ontario goes a third way, discounting both public and private options at government's risk-free borrowing rate, and pricing risk entirely separately through dedicated quantification workshops, publishing a standalone report per project. 3 frameworks, 3 different answers to one design question. Does risk belong inside the discount rate or outside it? Here's what that machinery produces on an actual project. The outline business case for the Royal Liverpool and Broadgreen University Hospital (PFI), reviewed by the UK's Treasury Select Committee in 2011, calculated that the PFI route beat conventional procurement by a value-for-money margin of 0.03%, practically a coin flip, presented as a firm conclusion. That margin was built on stacked assumptions, all pointing the same direction. Financing the hospital privately cost 71% more than government borrowing would have. The discount rate applied was 3.5% real, against a real yield on 30-year government gilts of under 1% at the time, and an optimism bias adjustment inflated the public comparator's construction and running costs by 19% and 15%, applied only to the public option, not the PFI bid. Stack those together, and a genuinely more expensive financing structure still cleared the bar. That pattern wasn't isolated. The same committee heard evidence on a PFI schools deal in York, where the outline business case first showed the public sector comparator as cheaper, £10.3 million against £11.1 million for the PFI bid. A £1.4 million estimated risk figure was then added to the public comparator, reversing the result in the PFI's favor. A separate audit commission review of 11 PFI school deals found 9 relied on exactly that kind of after-the-fact risk adjustment. The committee's own conclusion: the value-for-money appraisal system was, in its words, biased to favor PFI. Quick recap: the discount rate isn't a footnote. The National Audit Office found it alone could flip 5 of 6 real projects' value-for-money verdicts. Countries answer the risk versus discount rate question differently, from the UK's blanket social rate, to Australia's risk-adjusted CAPM approach, to Canada's risk-free rate plus separately priced risk. And documented cases, from a hospital's razor-thin margin to a school deal's after-the-fact risk adjustment, show the PSC can be shaped to fit a decision already made. The tool is only as trustworthy as the assumptions feeding it, and that's exactly where the real judgment happens. That's PPP Deep Dive. Value for money. Subscribe to follow the series.